we've got a good crew so far. And I would love to start out by Ryan and Megan. Why don't you guys tell us some of your background and tell us why you even got into real estate investing before we talk about the deals and the details of how you guys have built that out.
Okay. Yeah. I think that, so we were actually just talking to some other friends last night about how we got into real estate investing. And the honest answer is we couldn't sell our first home.
Oh,
and so we decided to turn it into a rental property.
Okay. Gotcha.
So from there, I mean, that was, I don't know, how long ago? 5 years ago was that window. And in that window, we added 4 more doors. So we had a total of 5. And really, that was kind of all we had really done with real estate. And, it was always, how do we get bigger? But at the same time, I was working a 9-to-5 job, and that consumed more than just 9 to 5. That was life consuming almost. And then we just kind of started talking about how we were going, what our goals for real estate were, and how we were going to get there. Things with the 9-to-5 job weren't as you would desire. If you're going to spend that much time in a place, you want it to be an enjoyable experience, but it just wasn't. And so Megan had seen, I can clearly remember me sitting in my recliner relaxing from the 9-to-5, and Megan had seen the Max Maxwell's 30-day challenge. And I can remember her saying, you should do that. And I was like, I'm not going to do that.
I have to get Facebook. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, that was it. I did not want to if I have to get on Facebook, I don't want to do it. That was one of the requirements for the 30-day challenge, was you have to get on Facebook and follow him. And I was like, I don't have Facebook, and I didn't want to get it, but it was a little bit of time. I was like, you know what? I am going to do that. And so that was the beginning of wholesaling. And was that like Halloween, I think, or something really close to Halloween?
Can I fill in the gaps?
Fill in the gaps. Yep.
So we were expecting our 3rd child in October, and he has always been a salesman, was very good at his job, but we'd already been talking about maybe segueing out of corporate America, not really sure what that looked like. And so whenever we knew a friend who was wholesaling, and he posted about the Max Maxwell challenge. And that's why I was like, hey, you should do this, just because he'd already expressed interest in some type of real estate. And after we had our baby was 3 weeks old. And we realized that events happened, and it was like, we had set ourselves up to be able to leave, and it was time. And so that's when you did the deal, that's when you did the challenge. You did a deal, and after one deal, he's like, I can do this. And left his job.
First one in the bag, and then it was like, oh, I got this thing. I can do this.
Yeah.
Did you actually get the deal within 30 days?
17 days to be exact. And it was kind of a fluke deal, because it was we had already downloaded DealMachine, but I had that first deal was actually just a friend that had mentioned, hey, one of my buddies has a house that he's trying to get rid of. And at first he'd mentioned it, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that thing. And then it dawned on me. I'm like,
to rent it. To use
yeah. He was kind of referring it as a potential rental property. And then it dawned on me, man, maybe I could do this as a wholesaling, wholesaling deal. So we did it, and 17 days we had the first deal in the bag. And then from there it's been crazy.
So we had
congratulations on your 3rd child. We definitely want to celebrate that with you. And then also, accidental landlord situation turned out to be really good and motivating, right? For you to get interested in wholesaling through that 30-day challenge. And then once you did your first deal in 17 days, you were like, this is easy. I got to do it again.
Yeah. It was fun. And I've always had interest in the thrill of the sale, from a sales aspect. So it was it was a new thing. It was a new thing to sell, but that it immediately the interest peaked. And then through the wholesaling challenge, I mean, we had sent postcards through DealMachine. And I can remember again, the second deal that I had done, I'd gotten a phone call and answered it. And the guy said, "Hey, I've got a postcard in the mail from you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it worked." Like the postcard, the guy got the postcard. So we started talking, went and checked out the property, talked, what his idea was in terms of how much he was trying to get out of it. And we made an offer. He accepted the offer. We had a cash buyer that we had been talking to about finding some potential deals. I pitched it to him. He took it right away, and that was deal number 2. And so I can't remember very many how they all happened after the 1 and 2.
Right.
But yeah, that number 2 was the first one from DealMachine, and then they've all from that point. It's all been DealMachine. So
one of our followers on Instagram had said, "I want to hear about that deal that got away," because we had said, like, I don't remember how many, all but one. And so the first one was the deal that wasn't through DealMachine. And it was through this Max Maxwell challenge that we had been introduced to DealMachine. And the first few leads came from there, but we decided to go to We Live in February. And I feel like that upped the ante with DealMachine, because then we came back ready.
Yeah. And we understand you guys were there.
And we didn't.
And I had said every day, I was like, I got to go and talk to those guys. And then I never did. Now I'm sad.
Let's talk about, I mean, that was an amazing story. And I think that was only 2 years ago, right? That you probably rented your house, that you couldn't sell your house.
That was 5 years ago that we couldn't sell the house.
Okay.
And then from that point, we added more doors. And then it was just a year ago that we really started full-time. I mean, I left the job and started full-time wholesale and real estate investing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, 5 deals a month is averaging, close to 50 per year. I'm sure there's been some like processes and systems that you've had to evolve as you kind of scaled up, right? I'm seeing you now.
Yes.
I'd love to hear about some of those and what some of those were.
Yeah. First and foremost, I think it started out, we were getting about 2 deals a month at the beginning of the year. And it was really kind of, I'd get the deal, I'd get the paperwork, I'd send it to the title company. And I was kind of that from the very beginning to the very end, I was the guy. And that quickly became a very large bottleneck because I could go out and spend all day looking at properties and making offers, accepting offers, but then I'd have to spend the next day messing with paperwork instead of having the availability to go and do more. So the first big thing that we did was finding a processor we give the deal information to, they send the contract out to the buyer or to the seller. Same thing with the buyer, they send the assignment to the buyer. And then really I'm hands off now on almost the whole process. After I get the agreement done or I get the verbal agreement done, I'm really hands off until closing day. And really the only hands on then is accepting the check and moving on. And I'll monitor emails, but our processor is super sharp and reaches out to me. She'll call if there's something that's very, important to the close. She'll reach out so that we can, help get whatever pieces of information are there. But that has enabled us by itself to be able to pull 5 deals a month and have way more time on our hands to look at it and say, okay, 5 deals. I think we maybe could do 10 if we push it up a little bit harder. Getting drivers and utilizing some other like DealMachine list source to pull in more leads has been the second piece of that. So had 2 drivers on top of us because I think we'll always drive. I mean, that's, to me, it's so much fun to drive around and find properties. I know the kids used to like it. Now it's not so much fun for them, but it can double as nap time sometimes. So
They don't like it just because they've done it so much now.
yeah.
Do we have to drive?
Do we have to go drive? Are we driving again?
Oh,
Yes,
man.
we are. We are driving. So they know what it means. But I think that I can't just drive for 10 minutes. Like, you get on a roll and you start finding properties, and then you just want to keep going, and you could make it an all-day deal easily.
Right.
And get carried away with it. So yeah, we've got 2 drivers, and they're pulling in consistent leads for us, and then utilizing List Source to get the second half of that. Because I mean, for us, 2021 looks bigger, and we need to have more than just us driving, more than just 2 people driving. We need to have leads from much bigger avenues coming in. And even List Source, we've only been doing List Source for 2 months, and I've had 4 deals come from that. So
okay, cool. Well, I would love to open it up for some questions. For those of you that are asking questions in the chat, I would love to bring some of you on, and Hannah's going to manage that, so you can ask your question live. Can you say again, where did you find those 2 drivers that you hired?
It's actually my dad and my brother. My dad has extra time, and my brother has tons of extra time now because of school quarantining and not having classroom settings in his senior year. So he goes out and drives during the day since he doesn't have school, and then my dad squeezes some in during the week too. So
they're not full-time drivers.
No.
It's just when they can squeeze it in. We have a goal to hit a certain amount of properties added, and
got it. Yep, totally get that. What is that goal, by the way, of having so
we have, for driving for dollars, I strive to hit 250 new leads every month from the driving alone. That's like the minimum. I always want more than 250, but 250 gives me consistency with people calling. And that's what we're really trying to drive, is having consistent mailers going out every day, and creating a flow so that there's not, a peak and then a valley and then a peak and then a valley. So
yeah, absolutely. You definitely want consistency there. You want to have enough to actually get leads from. How did you land on 250?
200 was what Max Maxwell had been preaching. 200 give us between 3 and 5 solid lead sources every single month. And I wanted it to be more than that. So we said 250 new leads per month, driving for dollars, and then being able to generate more from List Source to drive that number up. Because we truly, now the goal is beyond that. I mean, 250 is not even close to what we're trying to do every month. So now it's more like I'm sending 25 new postcards every day in order to get it to where we need it by January 1.
Yeah.
I want to hop in because a lot has changed in the last 3 to 4 months, and he's talking to you from the last 3 to 4 months, because that's where things have really, I feel like, taken off. But like, I'm watching questions come in, and they're a lot more like the beginning stages. And in the beginning stages, we didn't have a processor. That wasn't until like 3 or 4 months ago. And the bottleneck was finding buyers and seeing people ask about buyers. There was definitely a bottleneck of finding buyers, and we did not have the flow. Now, I mean, like, you build momentum. So Ryan's really big about, like, once he's got something going, to keep building. And so we realized it was really easy, I think, for him to find the properties. It was harder to find the buyers. And at the beginning, we were calling people off of Craigslist to find houses or to find buyers, because a lot of times they're interchangeable. We were just talking to everybody. We had a buyer come through somebody that we had just mentioned that we were going to be selling. So yes, all of this we're doing, but it took a good 8 months to get there. And it wasn't, I mean, you consistently had 2 to 4 deals a month for the first 8 months, and we were still living very comfortably, and it was wonderful. But I feel like it's really been in the last 4 months we've started to solidify systems.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, and it looks like we have Dimitri with us. Dimitri, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Chicago.
Oh, great city. And what type of real estate investing are you doing in Chicago?
I'm just starting. I'm actually, I'm gonna take a state exam for real estate license because we have a new law here in Illinois that you cannot really wholesale without being a licensed real estate agent.
That's
So
right.
that's the first thing I'm doing right now, but then I'm gonna pretty much do what guys are doing, like, just looking for a great deal and wholesale it.
That's great.
So wanted to, first of all, congrats guys. It's on your success. It's 50 plus deals a year. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I really have 2 questions for you. Did you have your cash buyer list before you started looking for deals? And how did you build that list? Do you have I don't know, did you pull the list from list stores, like cash sales, and just call them? If you can share that. And the second question is, do you guys add like really old houses, 1914, 1917 to your list? I have a whole bunch of old houses around me, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to wholesale them.
Yeah, so starting with the first question, no, we had no cash buyers when we started. And that, to me, of course, that was the anxiety part of it. It's like, okay, I might be able to get a house, but then what am I going to do with it? Because I have nobody. Because then you're starting from scratch. And List Source was how we initially started, because that was part of the 30-day wholesaling challenge, was pulling a list of cash buyers. But that wasn't even where our first buyer came from. We had local real estate agents that knew of cash buyers, and we had reached out to some of them with the deal. And from there, we started getting referrals from friends of, hey, I have a uncle that's an investor that's looking for property. So then we started that way. And then referrals from those guys, hey, I've got a friend that's wanting to get into this. Here's his number, reaching out to them. And that was how we initially started to grow our buyers list. There's not a secret recipe for finding it. You're going to find buyers from really strange places. Craigslist, we've had Facebook, we've had Instagram, we've had excellent relationships with cash buyers from all different avenues. So there wasn't like a secret recipe for finding them. You can just find your momentum, find where you get one, and then keep fishing the same hole until it's fished out. So the second question, remind me the second question.
It was
Old
about
houses.
really old houses, yeah.
Yeah, I have had a large number of old houses. The one that we've bought one for ourselves to add to our portfolio. That was a 1920 house. We've had some that are 1914. There are several people that are interested in, historical homes. And so to me, as long as the deal makes sense, as long as the numbers make sense, and I'd encourage, making friends with a realtor to help you with an ARV on an old house, because it's not easy to find it through Zillow and Redfin and those. I'd encourage you to ask a real estate agent what they think you would be able to put an ARV. But we've had, I don't know, maybe 15 old houses that we've wholesaled this year. So I'd say as long as the numbers make sense, add it for sure.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dimitri.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. And best of luck with getting your license in Chicago so you can do the wholesaling legally. I like that. Only an issue in Illinois. All right, it looks like we got Josh. Josh, can you hear us?
How about now?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing?
Perfect. Good. How are y'all?
Doing really well. We can't
Awesome.
see you, but that's okay. If it's not working, we would still love to hear where you're calling in from and get your question answered.
Yeah, I'm calling from Spring, Texas. And I was curious, as far as drivers, are you paying them just a flat daily cash out or commission only? And either way, no matter which one of those two, are you giving them a bonus on anything that you contract?
Yes. So our arrangement is $1 per lead. I had thoughts and questions about what if they're not qualified leads or unqualified leads. I've only done just if it's a lead, add it and we'll give you $1. We've gone over our criteria of what we want as a lead. Like, please don't send me a vacant lot just so you can get $1. And then yes, absolutely. If we get a deal from it, and it's a lead that you added, we do a commission structure on that as well. So we do a percentage of whatever the assignment fee is what they would get as a reward or a commission for a closed lead.
Okay, right on. And how'd you find them?
Honestly, it's family members for us, for our drivers. In the future, we'll probably be adding more. Not sure how we're going to find those ones yet, but for us, it just worked out. We had family that had time, that wanted to do it and is interested in it because of what we are doing. They showed interest. So they were happy to be a part of it.
Right on.
Well,
Awesome.
one of our whys is to help our family.
Right.
So that's where, we're going to hunt first.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how many whys do you have? Just curious.
I get a new one every day.
Perfect.
I mean, the biggest to me is growing something for not just us now, but something for us later, our kids, community. I mean, there's so many things that motivate us to make a difference for us immediately, make a difference for the area that we live, and for our family that's around us to try to bring us all up together. But yeah, to me, there's always a new why. There's always a new motivator. I find motivation in strange places and usually just take it and run with it. So, but the big ones are immediate, growing something for our immediate family, something that's solid now, but something that's going to be great for us in the long run. And then again, the local community, bringing our local community up as well.
That's awesome.
When you said you got a new why every day, I was like, wait, he's a new kid every day?
No.
Josh, what's your why? Did you say what your why was?
Yeah, family.
Got it.
Definitely.
Is there any other questions we could help answer?
I'm sure I'll think of some the more we dive into, I don't know what the plan is, diving into some deals or strategies, but I'm sure I'll come up with some more.
For sure. What do you think your next step is right now towards getting that next wholesale deal?
I'm trying to figure out, I've been doing driving for dollars, and it's not that I don't think it's productive at all, but I feel like I drive more than I'm able to get on the phone and call.
Yep.
So I'm looking for criteria to build a list, and purchase and, get some phone calls where I'm not driving around for 8 hours to get, 3 or 4 good leads.
How many, got it. So how many properties have you added driving for dollars so far?
About 150.
Okay. That's a really good start. Even in the lowest price markets, that's not enough. We always say minimum is like 300. So before you kind of go out and try to do something else, what I would really want you to focus on is one thing. And then that expectation for driving for dollars is definitely 300 minimum. If you're in a higher price market, it's probably like 600-700. But one place I don't want you to fall into is people try a little bit of this, doesn't work, they move on, do a little bit of that, move on, do a little bit of another thing. And really they've kind of all their money is spent, but none of it was like focused enough to get any results at all. And so that's what I don't want to happen to you.
Right. Okay. I feel like when I look around, like there's not a whole lot. It's if I go further north to kind of get away from competition, because we're real close to Houston, then it seems like it's lots of acreage where, you know, you may drive 100 miles and get, you know, one house because, you know, everybody's lot is, I don't know, you know, 300 feet wide or what, I don't know, whatever a big country lot would be. And they're all in, you know, $400 to $800 price range, or you got, I don't know, kind of slummy, you know, $20,000 value for property and lot, and can't really do a whole lot with that.
Right. Don't do, yeah. So I hear that you're going north. You said to stay away from competition. You were saying you probably should avoid the really slummy areas, which I totally agree. Ryan, do you have any advice from what he's saying about you know, where he should go drive?
Maybe a price
I mean,
range.
yeah, you can. I don't know that you can ever avoid competition. I think you just have to. I mean, we have competition in our market, and we send out postcards, and we've had other people sending out postcards. You don't know who's going to have the deal. I mean, we've gotten calls on, yeah, we've gotten other postcards, and we've actually solidified deals even with competition in the market. So I wouldn't necessarily say stay away from competition. I would encourage you to be as visible as everybody else is important too. Don't be a recluse. Don't go just to the areas that nobody else is. I'd say definitely make yourself visible. Not saying spend all your money in that particular area, but make a little bit of a splash so that other people can see you. And honestly, we've had so many people refer us after we've done a deal. They'll refer us to somebody else that they know is trying to get rid of a property. So you never know what that might spur. Slums, I'm going to be honest, we found some of our best deals in the slums. It's all about finding a buyer for those. Sometimes that's a little bit harder. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've just found so many from so many different places, so many parts of town. Our town's a little bit smaller too. So it's a checkerboard. You can go from one street to the next street. You're in slums versus, wow, this is a B+ neighborhood, and you're back in the slums again. We've driven in some parts of other states where we're in a really good part of town and we're knocking out some, getting some leads in. And then all of a sudden I'm like, we need to get out of this area. So I do understand the slum thing, but again, you never know what a deal might come from.
Yeah, I want to kind of hop in and say, I mean, like when we're driving for dollars, our list of criteria, like we want a house that looks distressed. Slums, I mean, there's, you know, if you have streets and streets of no development, then that's different. But you want a distressed house. You want somebody who you can help solve a problem for. And if the house looks perfect, there's probably not a problem. We have had a lot of luck in our downtown area because it's kind of going through a revitalization. And so if you can find houses in an area where there has been some type of renovation or flip or whatever, even if most of the area is still not renovated, you know, find out who bought that house. Maybe they're looking to buy more. The reason that a certain market is saturated is because people are buying there. So want to go where the buyers are.
Totally.
True.
I completely agree with that. And I also wanted to share more about the expectations because I saw a few people ask my comment about that. So this is what we've noticed. is in Indianapolis, the average home price is $50,000, believe it or not. And that's true for a lot of Midwest markets. In California, the average home price in Los Angeles is $650,000. Okay. So like Tark buys houses that works in Orange County. They're spending 10,000, they're sending mail to 10,000 properties to get one deal. But driving for dollars, that would only require 1,500. That's the blue line. And down here in Indianapolis, about 300 deals driving for dollars to get 300 leads driving for dollars to get one deal. And if you're buying a list, you should expect to be sending mail to 2,000. So if you think about, like pulling lists, it's easy to pull a list. So a lot of investors do pull that list. You need more leads to actually get a deal from that. Brian, does your number fit on this blue scale at all? I know here, I got to scroll down to the more detailed part, but what is your impression of this? I have not shared this before. Can you guys read that? I think you're on a phone, aren't you?
We are on the phone, yes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. Seeing a few things saying makes sense. So, Brian, what I was asking you is like, when you're driving for dollars, like how many leads do you have have you added to your system and followed up with several times before you get a deal? How many leads do you have to find in order to get a deal?
I mean, we've stayed pretty consistent to adding 200 through driving for dollars.
Yeah.
2 to 250. We've stayed pretty true to that because it has generated a flow that honestly, if it were any larger, it'd almost be overwhelming at that stage. Then we implemented having a processor and time has been freed up a little bit to do more. But we've kept the driving. We obviously want everything to go up in trajectory because the more leads you add, the more deals you have. So the only way to growth is by going up. But we have seen consistency with the driving for dollars. We've seen consistency at that 200 to 250 leads per month. And so we've kept that and then added to it. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to sway away from anything that's been working. So that's why we just keep cranking keeping it at 250, just to keep that flow going, and then adding with list source.
Also, but he said this to Elise, I believe, earlier. We don't just send the mailers. He calls the return postcards. And so I feel like that's been a huge part of why he doesn't have to drive a ton more, because we're not letting all those return postcards. How many postcards do you get returned a week?
Yeah, we get a lot.
We're not letting those just sit and go to waste. So if you don't want to spend as much time driving, make sure you're not wasting the postcards that come back.
Right. Yeah. Today I made sure I got my stack ready of all the return mail because I knew that was going to come up. Definitely don't. I mean, those, just because they come back, that doesn't mean they're dead. I mean, you follow up with them. And I've said it before, somebody else might have sent them a postcard and then stopped when they got it back. But if you go the extra level and follow up another way, I mean, when we pull, if you skip trace it on DealMachine, you're not only getting a phone number, you can get an email address. So call, and if that doesn't work, send an email. You never know what element they actually pay attention to. They may not look at their mail. They may not look at their missed calls on their phones or their voicemails, but they may be a person that checks their email every other day, and they suddenly see an email, that's my house. How did they? And then a call comes in. So
yeah,
you have to have the one way of generating leads and stick to it. Just like David, you were saying, stick to the one thing. And we have done that even with our growth. We've still stuck with DealMachine because it's so simple for me to understand. I don't have to go and finding different lists from other different places. I have everything that I need in my hands. But then there's so many different tools in DealMachine that doesn't just stop. You send the postcard, you're not done. Like there's so many other ways that you can use those postcards to bring you leads. So people, I've seen questions of, do you do anything else other than driving for dollars? I mean, yes, we take the leads that we got from driving and continue to follow them through. So, and you do have the unresponsive tab that if you're updating your leads and you've cold called, you've skipped traced, you've cold called, it was return mail, you got nothing from your email, you can put unresponsive on as your lead status. And then all of a sudden you have a new list of leads that didn't work the first time. So later on you could go, man, none of these panned out the first time. Try it again.
Yeah. Love using the unresponsive status and several other statuses just to keep leads organized. We've got on with us now Tucker. Tucker, it's great to see you on here, especially since we connected on Instagram earlier this week. So Hannah, great coincidence there. Tucker, I saw you asked a question about budget, right?
Yeah. So I'm just getting started in this, and you've answered a lot of the questions I had about marketing budget, but maybe I'll rephrase it. When you were first getting started, how did you set up a marketing budget for what you wanted to do? Maybe you don't have to tell me how much per month or anything like that, but delegating where you wanted your money to go and how you wanted to target people.
Well, I knew the marketing budget. Obviously, my monthly membership with DealMachine was part of the monthly budget. But then I knew if I'm sending out postcards and I'm sending out 200 postcards, that's another thing. You know what you're going to spend. You're 55 cents per postcard. So you're generally half of the amount of postcards that you send out. And we kind of stuck to that, and that was kind of consistent. Now, I mean, DealMachine also has, when you set in your goals, it also tells you kind of where your budget's going to fall. If you keep building the consistency using their platform, you're going to know what your monthly and yearly budget is going to be just from there. And that's been very huge for us. Growing, obviously, the more postcards you send, the more money you're going to spend sending those. However, it only really takes one deal to cover all your marketing expenses for an entire month and more. I mean, you could literally, one deal would pay for all your marketing for the whole year. So get that one deal. Don't blow all the money. Set aside some of that money to use for more marketing. The more marketing you do, the more postcards you do, the more money you're going to make, and you can just keep snowballing that effort. So, I mean, yes, everybody needs to live on a budget. So obviously set the money aside for that. But the minute that you get your first deal, take money, say if you make $5,000 on a deal, take 500 out of that and set that aside. You can send a lot of postcards with $500, So just set that aside and know that that's what that's for. It's going to benefit you time and time again. It's going to reward you time and time again. And then you just keep doing that. I mean, if you set $500 out of every deal, if you have that kind of gap, imagine how much marketing room you have. And I mean, marketing is the only way for growth. It really is.
Right. I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, me too.
Fun fact, Tucker was a NASCAR development program driver.
Yeah.
Whoa, cool.
Pretty freaking.
Another lifetime ago. Now that's what David's going to start doing in his spare time. So
That's
let me know how that goes. If you need an extra hand, I'd be interested.
if you're mechanically inclined, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Great question, Tucker, from Quincy, Illinois. And you still thinking about doing St. Louis market to get started?
Yeah, I mean, that was another question I was going to propose. I know where St. Joe is. I know how you guys, corresponding to Kansas City. Are you hitting that Kansas City market and being an hour or so away or however far it is? How have you managed that too?
Yeah, we've done 7 deals in Kansas City. Um, I, to me, my thought is St. Joe is so big. I don't want to limit myself to one area. If I want to grow, I don't know that there's a way to completely accomplish my goals by staying in one spot. Every time we leave our house on vacation, any market that we go into, I'll start looking around. Are there vacant houses? In the last week, we sent postcards to New Orleans. We've sent postcards to Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, any market that I go in, I'm looking at it. I mean,
Right.
and honestly, if
Or
leads
go
start, if leads start generating from postcards in a certain market, then I know, hey, I can go into this market and start putting some groundwork here. But yeah, Kansas City's a great place to go. We've had several callbacks on our postcards there. Just getting a place to call home first and establish yourself in your local. And then once you have consistent leads going, definitely don't be afraid to branch out, because you don't know what markets might be a hot market for real estate investors. So keep your options open.
I'd like to hop in and say that like he said, if we're going to go somewhere, we look, but not just if we're going somewhere, if we're just going through somewhere, just driving by, we're kind of aware of that, because you don't know what opportunities will present. But also, once you have a buyer or two, I mean, it started looking for houses. I would say our philosophy has maybe shifted slightly in that we think it's really good if you have a buyer or two or have built a list and you know their criteria, then you look specifically for that criteria, because it's easier to assign a house if you have people in mind, or people who prefer that style or that area, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, that helps us determine where we're going to look.
Yeah, you could have a list of 15,000 buyers, but of that 15,000, you may only have 10 that are active and consistent. So you're going to cater what you're looking for. You're going to start kind of adjusting that to what they're buying, what they're actively buying. Not saying stay away from anything but what they're doing. Definitely don't. If you can get it. Because just because those 10 don't buy it, you still have a massive cash buyers list that you can still send out marketing to, and you never know. We've had ones and twos that pop up, hey, I'll take that deal. And it's like, okay, well, they've never responded to any of our other deals ever but that one, and that counts. So
I feel like the first 6 months of this, like, the buyers every house we sold, we were also hunting for a buyer. Like, we did not have a huge list. The buyers literally came, at the right time, because of, you kind of said exhaust your marketing, but also like exhaust your networking. We talked to everybody about it. We were on Facebook, like real estate groups in and around our area. We were posting them on Instagram and on Craigslist. And those first several months, it really was like, you didn't know who was going to buy the property, and you were hunting for a buyer just as much as you were hunting for the property. But now I feel like our expansion, now we have a good enough buyer base that we're going to constantly look for leads that might fit within their criteria, but we're going to constantly add other houses because we want to add other buyers. So,
Okay, that makes sense. I think St. Joe's probably similar to Quincy. I don't know how big it is, but it's about 40,000 people here.
Oh, like 70 here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Jesse, how are you doing? I saw you popped in there a few minutes ago.
Doing well. How are you guys?
Really great.
very good.
Yeah, congrats on everything. Yeah, my question, I put it in the chat beforehand,
Thank you, Tyler.
but it was kind of about your process. It's like, For me, I kind of like, so I'll drive for a day and I'll get 50 properties in there. And I don't really have a system in regards to like, okay, I'm going to send out a mailer, then call X number of times, like a day or two in between. Like, what's your touch point cadence? Like, do you send a mailer, then in 2 days call, then text? Like, what is it that you do?
I'm impatient, but I'm also patient with DealMachine. I let the mailers be the first touch. So
Okay.
I don't start calling unless there's I mean, I've driven by some and I'm like, forget it. I'm skip tracing it right now and I'm going to call them.
We knew we had a buyer for
Yeah,
it.
we knew, gosh, if
Okay.
I can get in, I'm going to get in. But I let the mailers do the first work. It's no lifting effort for me other than adding the property, sending out the mailers, and then waiting.
Okay.
Once you get momentum and you're sending enough mailers, like for me now, I'm sending out 25 new leads every single day. You won't even think about it. Honestly, you'll have calls coming in every day that you don't.
It'll dictate.
Yeah, you
how
won't
do it.
have the opportunity to sit there and dial all of them. It's going to be, you're going to be getting consistency through the calls by consistently sending marketing. Now, I do have with the return mail. Now, I don't go to the mailbox every single day. I'll go there once a week, grab what I've got, and then on a Friday morning, roll through the ones that I've got. Unfortunately, sometimes the list gets thick. So sometimes it takes an entire day to call all of the return mail. But even then, you'll get out of 100, you'll get 5 people to answer the phone and talk to you about it. So yeah, I think you're spending the money on doing the mail. So if you send it, let it do its job first, in my opinion. And then if you don't get a response from the mail, definitely start calling and see what you can do. We did a mass skip trace on a list earlier this summer, I think in August. And we did a massive calling campaign. I spent 2 or 3 days in the basement just dialing, and that generated some more leads, but it's still, you spent the money on the postcard. See what that will do first before you start dialing right away. Otherwise, you're maybe spending time working a lead that may already call you. So
Okay. And do you customize those the mailers at all, or do you use like the pre-packaged templates that they kind of like suggest for you?
yeah, the only customizing that we've done is we put our logo on them. That way you stand a little bit outside. In our market, we have a couple other people that send postcards. So I want our brand to stand out a little bit more than just a generic postcard. So I definitely encourage you to do something different that makes people know that it's you. Because I've had a couple people say, yeah, you've sent me so many postcards. I only send one postcard.
Yeah.
And then from there, then I let my other strategies of marketing take place. So I know if they say they've gotten multiple from me, it wasn't me. So market in a way that they'll know that's coming from you, Heritage Homes, or whatever your business name is, that's coming from that person versus, and you'll start establishing your brand in your market too.
Okay. So you only send out one. You don't do like the recurring every.
No, I started doing I started off doing the recurring. And I stopped doing that because I wanted to see what the results of sending at one time were. And that I started seeing I was getting 3 to 5 deals out of every 200 postcards I sent. So I haven't changed my marketing strategy on that, but I've still used DealMachine's other marketing tools instead of sending other postcards. So you could do, 3 rounds of postcards, or you could do 1 round of postcards, cold call, email. I mean, you've got so many different tools in the toolbox with DealMachine. Try them all. So for me, what works is 1 postcard.
Okay.
I've thought, maybe, I know this year I'm going to send everybody that got a postcard that didn't respond is going to get another one this year. So it might, space it out a ways, but for me, that's what's worked. So
if we were
in a
hurting
different
to
market. Yeah,
find-
for
if we,
sure.
If we were hurting to find deals, then
More is better,
we
probably.
would send more postcards, but the deals have
get
been
funny.
consistent. The deals have been consistent enough to, I mean, at
Yeah,
least
that's
for
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they need to see it.
Excited
They need to
sometimes.
see it.
I get
Huh?
too excited, and I just right when I see a house that like just would be perfect, I get really excited. I'll skip trace it, and then I'll just start dialing, and then most of the time they don't answer, but
Right.
that's when I send a mailer. But I'm gonna try your strategy and just start with a mailer, and then if it doesn't work out, then start calling.
I mean, again, build yourself some momentum, just like the snowball effect. Get some going, because it takes a little while for the mail to go out. I mean, I have some people that got a mailer a month ago that are still calling. Hey, I got your postcard 2 months ago or whatever, and they'll still call. So build enough momentum that you have the consistency of deals going out every day, because you have peace of mind. You don't feel like you're not doing anything. I hate that feeling of I didn't add any properties today. I'm gonna go several weeks without getting a phone call. If I don't get a phone call, I'm irritated. So then I do like double the amount of postcards.
That's awesome.
I found consistency is key. So doing a set number every single day, and having a set number every single month. That way you have a flow coming back regularly. So
we have felt there was a point where we had a really busy month, like personally, and so we didn't drive as much, we didn't send as many postcards, and we felt the like aftershock of that like a month to a month and a half later.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was an interesting realization.
it was a very frustrating experience. 1 week of not adding
A week and a
deals
half,
is
yeah.
a week and a half of life that just
Fell
hit.
out.
I mean, you put all the craziness into 1 week, and we tried. I mean, there was times I would call my dad, and I'm like, "Were you able to get any?" He's like, "I couldn't. I didn't have the time." And it's like, after that week, for a month, I didn't get a single call, and that was a very frustrating. And that was then again, I was like, fine, hit 400 the next month. So then I got overwhelmed and swamped. So that's the proof in the pudding of get consistency, build consistency, whether it's from lists, whether it's from driving. Just make sure you're always sending so many out. That way you never have that drop off, because that drop off sucks.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything to drop off of yet because I haven't gotten a deal yet, but
Well, you will. You will.
And also kind of keep in mind, like, he left his job, and he's not just doing this like 2 hours a night, a few nights. He doesn't ever stop working. But I mean,
I'm in my chair at
likes
night,
it.
selecting more leads to go out.
It would be significantly harder if you're only doing it, a few hours a week. This is what we're devoting our time to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, when you get that first deal, pull money out of your first deal so that you can just load the arsenal of postcards that go out. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's a great point. I took note of that before when you said it to someone else's question, the $500 a deal. My question was, what was it? Oh yeah, it was about the radius. So like I'm in Tampa right now, Tampa, Florida. And I feel like it's pretty big, but how far, just what's the radius from like where you live to where you drive?
I really don't have one. I mean,
All over.
there's so many. Yeah. If I can get there, I mean, I've driven to Topeka, Kansas one day and drove around for 4 hours just because I'm like, maybe there's something over there. I don't know. I mean, I don't put a limitation on where I can find deals. And I've heard several times, stay in your area. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to just saturate the market. It's not part of my goal of growth isn't to just stay here. I want to grow. I'm not saying I'm going to take over the whole United States, but I don't want my market to be so constricted. I want massive area. I want to be free to go about the country and go get whatever I can. So if you're in Tampa and you find a deal, call us.
I want to
Will
do
do.
like B&B, so you can wholesale
Yeah,
to us.
yeah.
If you find
Yeah.
something.
We're on your cash buyers list if you didn't have one.
Yes. I wanted to say something. Is it on DealMachine where the cash buyers have been buying?
No, that's the list source. I think so.
For what?
List source, which was something that the 30-day wholesaling challenge, so you can find buyers in certain zip codes.
Okay. Okay.
So find the hot zip codes and
Yeah.
drive there first.
Okay. Well, that's all I had, and I appreciate you answering all the questions, and I'll definitely let you know if I find something.
Follow us on Instagram, Heritage
Heritage
Homes. We'd love to stay in touch with you.
Cool.
But yeah, it's fun. This is one of the most fun things to do is the socializing and meeting everybody that's in the same boat. So
Yeah,
keep in touch.
absolutely. Will do. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
You
Jeff.
bet.
Hey, Cedric, how are you doing?
Good to meet you, David.
Hey, you too. Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Yeah, where are you guys at?
We're out in St. Joe.
St. Joe. Okay, nice. Okay. Yeah, I was curious. So, do you guys do you take the calls live? I don't know if I missed that earlier.
What do you mean?
When you say
Like-
take them live, you mean like call them when you're in front of the house?
Nah, like when you send out a mailer and the homeowner calls back, do you take them live or does it go through like an IVR or mailbox?
I take them live. Definitely take them live. If you can. Now, not everybody has, if you have a 9-to-5 job, obviously that gets hard. So having an IVR may be a good option for you. But I try, and sometimes I answer the phone all day, literally from 8 o'clock in the morning until people can call at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm always, if I see it and it comes through as a number I don't recognize, I answer it because I know it's got to be coming from that. Not everybody just has my number randomly.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense. So I was asking, I've been full time now for a few years and I've got a couple callers and we send out a text and ringless voicemail. And recently I started adding on virtual driving for dollars. So we got a bunch of them and I just don't really know. Well, now I know what to expect. But I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to set the system up I wasn't going to send mailers out, but after listening to you, it's like, yeah, I got to send mailers out. Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say mail doesn't work, but I'm like, you must not have tried because mail absolutely works. It's the consistency factor. If you just do, okay, I sent 200 and I didn't get any, but well, then send another 200 because it's going to happen. You're going to get it. It's the consistency key. Sending it regularly, building it up enough that it gets a chance to grow its momentum. If David said it, if you only do one thing and then you jump to one thing and then you jump to another thing, you're not giving anything enough attention to grow. It's planting 5 seeds in a pot, putting only a little bit of water in it. What one seed might grow, but the other ones are going to do what? They're not going to grow. I mean, you have to put one seed in the pot and then water it regularly. If you want to know how to grow a garden, let me know.
I appreciate it. Really, that was it. That was my main question. Also, I guess I have another one. Is there any specific mailer design that you like to send out?
We use what's on DealMachine. I mean, the only thing that we do different is we put our Heritage Home Investments logo on the mailer. That way we can build the brand recognition. So I don't want to just keep it generic. I want people to know that it's coming from us.
Okay.
Have you been doing deals? You said you've been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah, we're 2 to 4 deals a month right now.
That's awesome.
So usually like
Mostly
20 to
Kansas
40.
City?
Yeah, KC.
Very cool.
Yeah, I did one deal in St. Joe. It was a couple months ago.
it was hard to move. I wish I'd have known you then.
Yeah, for sure.
Is
Reach
it-
out. You're not far away. So
Yeah, is there
reach out.
part of Kansas City that you like the most, or all over?
Honestly, I just pull big lists and we just call through everything. So we get deals in more distressed areas. We get deals up north. I guess I like deals in the better areas, but we do deals in, hooded areas, and they're good, 15, 20K deals. So
Oh, that's
I just go wherever the lead comes.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've had good success then without mailers.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was either just cold calling, and then I just added on the text and ringless voicemail recently, and I like it. Because the cold calling, I don't know, the metrics these last few months, they dropped off, and we just weren't getting the deals that I felt we should be getting. So I started texting and doing ringless, and the deals started coming back, and then I was like, I need something like new leads to add on. So I was doing probates and driving.
Don't you think that, I also think like if you're texting and calling, I think you're going to hit a different demographic with mailers.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. What kind of demographic do you guys hit with mailers?
It's all across the board, truthfully. You definitely have some people who are more elderly and staying at home, or exhausted landlords that, don't want to do it anymore and they're ready to get out of the game. So that probably, if I had to pick a demographic, I'm going to say is an exhausted landlord. But I mean, I've had people our age that bought houses with the intent to flip them, tried it, and then were like, no, I don't want to. So yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but it's all across the board. I think that consistency with postcards is probably in the exhausted landlord. But we've had everything come in. So
Makes sense. On like a month-to-month basis, how many, I understand you add like 25 a day, but over the course of a month, that's like, I don't know, 400 or 500. Like, how many do you send out every month generally, or is it a new 500 every month? You didn't send it.
We added, I have the numbers. I'm looking at my DealMachine dashboard now. In December, so far, we've added 768 leads. So yeah, 25 a day is my goal, but that's not necessarily where I'll stop. If I can get 50 a day, if I sit in my recliner long enough, I'll get 50 every single day. But
you do it virtually as well?
Yes, because we've gone into some parts of the US that we don't live in, but I'll pull a list off of DealMachine and I'll look for the vacant properties, and that's where I'm going to send. So remotely, but in our market, Kansas City, St. Joe, we're very, very boots on the ground oriented. But yeah, we have to hit our goals. We have to grow from a remote aspect too. But if I get leads coming from a certain area, I'm going to go out there and drive around. So
yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Appreciate it.
Are you mostly doing Kansas City then too? Or are you going elsewhere?
Yeah, it's just the metro right now. I mean, there's so many houses with
There's a lot there.
There's different buyers. There's so many different markets here. So, I feel like if I only hit the top 3 zip codes here, a person could get deals every month. So, but yeah, for now, I'm just expanding within Kansas City, I'm trying to get more out of the team that I have, because I just feel like there's some cracks. Like we're profitable, but we definitely should do more numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cedric, thank you so much for joining us, and congrats again on scaling up to doing 2 to 4 deals a month consistently. And hopefully answered your question about, using IVRs versus taking those calls live. We're actually going to transition into the software demo portion of the webinar next. So just wanted to thank Ryan and Megan so much for your time so far. You're certainly welcome to stick around with us for this second portion too. But we know you've got kids and family that you may need to get back to. So this is the Instagram that everybody can connect with you on. And as Ryan said, they really enjoy the socialization aspect of doing real estate. So be sure to follow them at Heritage Home Investments and to let them know. I'm sure they would love to hear what you found most valuable.
For sure. Yes. Thank you guys so much for letting us be a part.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, and we will talk to you guys soon. Do you guys have to go, or are you going to stay here?
I'm gonna chill. She
I'm gonna
might.
get my babies.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
I'll
good.
chill out.
Okay.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. So Ryan, you got to chime in here if you feel like there's something we're talking about that you use, and then
Okay.
Elise, you cool to tag team this demo with me? Elise?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, good. All right.
Ryan, I'm so happy that you're here and y'all were able to talk. I
Oh,
still
man.
I still reference your success call all the time.
Hey, I'm telling you, I cannot get over how much I really appreciate DealMachine. So if this pandemic would go away, I'd be at your office hanging out for a day just to be around you guys. You guys are awesome.
Oh, we
I
would
just-
fly you in.
I just can't believe that we missed you at We Live like that. When you
I'm
told me
so
that in our
mad.
success call, I was like, but now seeing your wife, you said you had your baby with you, did you not?
Oh yeah, we did. He was
And
there.
I'm pretty sure I remember her walking by with a stroller.
Oh yeah. I think we were
So-
maybe one of two people there with a very young baby. Probably.
I love it. Until next time. David's showing now for all of you that are watching the dashboard, which was what Ryan was talking about earlier about setting your goals and seeing the lead count. If you want to talk to that, David.
Yeah. So this is for an advanced account, like somebody who's going to pay to hire drivers, and we've got a sliding scale of what type of revenue you want per month. And then like what's your average profit per deal. So you can slide that and estimate what your annual profit is. If you're on like a basic or a professional account, there's actually a simplified version of this that doesn't involve hiring drivers that you guys will want to take a look at.
Yeah. And the reason for that is you just need to focus on getting those deals and then going forward. And then if you scroll down on the dashboard, you'll see your analytics. I know a lot of people are asking me also how they can find those. So this is where your analytics will live for leads added, mailers sent out, your ROI. And so just so you guys are aware that this is where you can find it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next part is the map, and it's going to be able to let you click on a house. You could see who owns it, sale date, sale price, improvement value, land value. You could even click to see the county link for that particular property. And then you can, of course, add the lead. So on your mobile app, it's going to look slightly different. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So you'll click on a property that's got a black dot, and then you'll add the lead, and now it'll be added as a lead to your system. The next step I do is take a picture of the house, and then I can send a piece of mail to the owner. There we go. Yeah, so I could start mailers to the owner, and I can get a preview of what that would look like right here.
Another little thing with the map for you guys. So David's using, look at that. See, David puts his nice mug on the postcard.
You don't?
I wanted to say for the map, you were showing like mobile starting to drive. clicking that arrow at the top right when you're on the map is really important to lock your location, but also David was using pin mode. You can also use this mode called tap to add. And I say it only because I find it safer when you're driving. So pin mode is where you tap the property and you have to press add lead. Tap to add is where you just tap the property and it's already added into your list. I just find that to be safer, especially if you're going down a road and it's just faster and you want to optimize your time.
All right, what should we show them next, Elise?
Highlights.
Okay.
I get so excited about highlights.
Yeah, so if you want to highlight vacant properties, let's see that. There's one. You can see because it's highlighted green. So it's going to show us any properties that meet our filter criteria. And yes, you can use it on a tablet. I just saw, did Janet ask that question?
And then with that, this is just from one of the quick lists. You guys can make it customized to, you know, vacant with, you know, sold over so many years. But just so you know, the more filters you put on it, the less it's going to highlight because it's going to be such a niche list and you want to find that area. This is another, people were asking where they should drive. I know they were asking Ryan that too. This is also a great tool to, you know, what you're looking for. Maybe I know some people have buyers that are looking for like 3-bed, 2-bath. You can filter that and see the areas that have like more of those types of houses and know to target that area.
Yes, and then somebody asked, Jonathan asked if multiple users from a team can use the same account from different mobile devices. So yeah, you can. You can also have your own logins. So on the CRM, basically the free version of DealMachine would let you have 30 people on the same account. And if you want to use the mobile map while you're out driving and see this map on your mobile phone, that's Street Engine. The basic lets you have 1 person, professional lets you have 2, and then the enterprise lets you have 300 different people on the same account adding properties.
Sheldon asked if the system works better on iPhone or on Android.
I'll tell you, it's easier to develop it for the iPhone because there's so many different Androids, but we are ranked higher on the Android store. We actually have a 4.9 rating on the Android store, like 700 reviews.
Sheldon, I'll tell you, as the only Android user, it works really well. And Androids are notorious too to be just really complicated because there's so many different kinds of us. But I feel like definitely we're less buggy than a lot of other apps I have on my phone.
Yes.
Oh, April says it works great on her Android. Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, so highlights also, just David mentioned that you can have drivers and stuff. You can't set a preset for your drivers, which that's just saving a preset and turning on a little tab that makes it so that they can see it. So that means they can't change it, but every time they're out, again, they can see. And I always tell my drivers, if it's green, it's good. If it's not green, like, I don't want you to add it. I don't care if it's distressed, which may not be the best for some, but I just don't, if it's sold within 3 years, I'll send them a buyer's postcard then instead of a seller's postcard.
And I don't know if you guys caught it, but this is the button where you can apply a filter to your drivers. Is once you set up your preset filter, then you can apply it with this right here.
Anthony, there is a video for professional. Hannah will grab you that. I know I'm a little biased, but any questions y'all have should be on the YouTube channel too. So if you, I know, and this recording will be on our YouTube channel tomorrow, so you can see Ryan and hear everything that's happened. So that way, and also we're going to link his success story too, because he dropped some big old nuggets then too. And so this is all going to be recorded and safe for y'all to reference after. I think that's pretty much on map. That's like the real meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Well,
Trying not to sound like an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah, I wanted to point out the driving routes because we can see those on the screen, but we didn't talk about that yet.
Yes. Okay. Professional and enterprise, you have routes. I know someone was also asking that earlier. If you're on basic, you do get the little snippets of them in your log, but this is to actually see them on the map where you can zoom out. And now we just released this week enhancements to the map to where it moves faster. I'll tell you what, Androids, it is smooth on Android. And it's smooth on iOS too. But I was super excited. It's really enhanced now, so you can zoom out at a greater distance to see how your drive. So David has a bajillion routes because he has a team driving all the time. It may not be on this account, but
Yes.
but he does, I promise. So there you can see all that, and the highlights are still there too, so you can see that you haven't hit certain areas. So yes, good job, David, because I totally about spaced that.
Okay, well now that we can jump right into the leads view. So every single property on the map that we added, this is gonna now show up in your leads view. And from here, you can take a bunch of actions. So one of the actions you could first do is select all of your leads. I did that with this checkbox up here. And then I can also just click this to select all the leads in my account if I wanted to. And now that that's done, I could skip trace all of them. And then I would have phone numbers generated and those would be displayed here. Another thing I could do is change their status or start mailers. Basically, any type of action you want to take with your leads after you got them into your system, you can do that from the leads view.
Yes, Todd, there's an export leads list right below the mailing options under more.
There it is right here.
Yeah, and then you can customize the columns that you see as well. I really like that aspect. It's pretty much like a glorified Excel, nice customizable spreadsheet. And if you think the pictures are too tiny, you can change that. That was a feature request from members saying the pictures were too tiny. So now you can expand them to be bigger in the leads list if that's something that helps you qualify them.
I'll say that's been a big change for me, because like on a phone and you're laying in bed going through that, sometimes you couldn't tell if it was a vacant lot or house. So now that I can blow that up and see, I'm like, okay, that's a house, that's a lot. So that's a big change.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Because yeah, we heard and we decided yes. And also that there's that type of button on your routes too, if you just want to see a snippet instead of the preview. So guys, I think, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, or Ryan, but this is probably the most, you can just do so much on this tab, like just organize, you can update status, you can make notes, you can do just so import, you can.
Okay, so somebody wanted to see, me to show them how to skip trace the leads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click 2 leads, click skip trace. Well, that's not supposed to happen.
I don't think I can share mine, but you could. I don't think I could share my screen, but I would do it on mine.
Oh yeah, I can give you permission to. You should be able to if you want to.
Let's see if I'm technologically challenged, but I would definitely try it.
So for all you that are technologically challenged, Ryan can operate DealMachine to its full capacity.
See? There you go. There you go. Okay, do I need to click something? I sound like an old man.
Yeah, there's a little share screen button. But if not, that's okay. I have mine up too.
Green. I don't know what this is doing.
Ryan, don't
Okay,
you?
here we go.
Oh, you're doing it.
Oh, is it too late?
No, go ahead. Do it.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Right.
Oh, there we are. Bam.
It looks like
Frozen on your face.
Oh no. You guys don't want to see that.
Well, you just look kind of confused, frozen.
Oh, dang it.
And this is going on YouTube. Everyone's gonna see it. No, I'm kidding.
that's awesome.
Darn.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, you got it.
Did you get yours? because I have mine up.
Yeah. All right, success. You successfully skip trace the lead. So here it is. I'm going to do it again. Click the skip trace button. It is skip tracing. And then it's going to bring back Anita Allison's phone number because she's the owner of this property. And then there it is. And there's 2 landlines and a mobile. So there you have it. That's how you skip trace a property.
Hey, David, too, click on click on one of the phone numbers and show them what you can do. If it's a bad number, how you can change it so that you don't keep calling it.
Yeah, there's a little toggle here. So if this number doesn't lead you to the right owner or it's a dead end, you can keep track of that. And then once you save it, it'll show up here as crossed out because it's a bad number.
Perfect.
Really good question. Okay. All right.
So much, but
What else? Yeah. Are we good with this page? You can import leads. I don't know if we talked about that, but there's a place up here to import a spreadsheet if you have that.
and you can now import any phone numbers or emails as well. It used to be just the address, but you can import all of those as well if you have lists that you need to. Dejanette, you get 50,000.
All right, so this is the driving tab. It'll show you how many hours and miles that you've driven. The hours is helpful if you're paying drivers or you just want to keep track yourself. The miles is helpful if you want to get a tax deduction at the end of the year. It's all tracked here, and same for your drivers. And then you could see like a glimpse of all of their tracked routes with these previews right here. And you could click into any of these just to view any more details on the larger part of the map. And then you can add drivers. You can see a list of your drivers. You can, if you're on the enterprise plan, you can actually set up a page to recruit drivers. And that would include a custom landing page for you, training videos to welcome the drivers and teach them how you're going to pay them, what type of distress to look for, etc. And then even customize like a welcome email for somebody who signs up on your team. All right, moving on. So you can put together lead lists a few different ways in DealMachine on the list engine part of the application. And what I could do right now is plug in my zip code or put in my entire city or just draw an area on the map. There we go. Yeah, and then what I could do is grab like all the vacant properties, or if you want to get a list of cash buyers, you could pull owners that own multiple properties. And then that would be a good source for you of cash buyers because they're people who own just individual multiple properties. And then you could even further customize that with, you know, maybe they have a lot of equity or over 50% equity in their property. And you could pull leads like this for a flat fee. And then they go right into your CRM. So the smart list feature would tell the system if there's any updates to this list, you know, next week or next month, to also kind of move properties on or off your list based on the criteria you selected. Elise, is there anything that I've left out here?
The only other tip I would give for lists is you can see the name of your list. It says leads filtered by. I use the drawing tool a lot. And so it does just say owners of multiple properties in custom. So I would re-add it to the date and also the area. I always say like between which street or what area. So that way I know that that specific list is for that area. That's my only big thing, because I started getting too many lists and I was like, I don't know which one, what it actually was filtered by. So, and when. So I would just say, put that on there. And if you don't have list engine, your lists are still here and you can still manage them. When you go into them, you actually get a breakdown of what you can track KPI wise too for each list. So I have listed our virtual driving for dollars, so I can see how those perform compared to, you know, my other lists that are organic, not necessarily through List Engine.
All right. Let's go on to the mailers. Elise, you've got a few favorites. There's like 10 defaults that come with the system, and you can change the colors, add your own photo, and you could even change the words, but you probably don't need to. And Elise, is your favorite still the blocks postcard?
Yeah. I was going to say full. That's a newer one. I really like that one, but it's kind of hard to get the color right on it to make sure it looks good. But it's really cool because it's just a blown up picture of the house. And you have to think as a seller, would this grab my attention? And my answer is always, heck yeah, if my house is blown up on a postcard, it's going to like get my attention. But I know, Ryan, you used the classic default, right?
Well, I've changed a couple times. Here was something that I found to be an obstacle because I loved that postcard. My darned email address was so long that it broke it up too much on the bottom left square. So I didn't like that. So I didn't go with that, but I love that postcard.
I have one right here that was returned, actually.
There you go. Yeah, my Ryan at heritagehomeinvestments.com was too big, and it just separated it too much that I was like, I want it all on one line.
You need the aesthetic to like,
yes, it has to make sense.
You're spending money on this, so like, I get that.
Yeah, but I do like that one.
I was really excited to get this in the mail at the same time because I was like, oh my gosh, look how cute it is. And
I think I'm using sample number 3, I think is my go-to.
Oh, that's another good one too. That picture right there.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep. Bam.
This is a good one. I love anything that's really visual and focusing on the image. And of course you get the words too on the side. And you can customize those guys. And here's how you do that. You can also, insert any of these text options to your actual text and save that to the postcard as well.
I will say something to pay attention to for that. I know Ryan has his logo, David has his picture, I have my picture. We'll get to signatures, but just because it fits in the signature circle doesn't mean that every single one of the templates is not going to like cut off your head or something. There's different formatting for each template. So go and preview it before you send it out, because I've had people where it fits in some templates and others their head gets chopped off, and I feel really bad. So double check that before you send out your mail. I chopped off my head. I had to recrop this.
All right. And then next we could talk about signatures, right? I know we should talk about campaigns first. So campaigns is a more advanced feature that you guys probably don't need to use right away. Ryan, do you guys even use campaigns?
I have campaigns. I have not used it yet.
Okay.
I probably will this year, or in 21. I will probably be using. That'll probably be a strategy we use.
Rochelle will hook you up and make sure that you're using it.
Yes.
Because you got that beautiful family picture you guys have. Everyone was like, they're such a cute couple. Y'all are. Like, I'd be like, yes, take my house.
I had only one part of that involvement, so I can only take half of that responsibility.
Yeah, but so anyway, just so you guys know, the campaigns is just a bit more sophistication. You could say, I'll send postcard 1 at first, postcard 2, 3 more times, and then finish it off with a 4th postcard. It just gives you that level of sophistication to your mailing campaign, but totally not necessary. If you're just starting out, like the repeat mailer is more than enough in my experience to get you started. All right, the signatures are next. So the signature is just like your contact information that you want the seller to call you back on. So that includes your name, your photo. It includes your phone number, email, website. It's just optional. You don't have to put that. And then of course, a return address, which when I was starting out, just put as my house. we have an office, and I put the office there, but I put my house for like 2 full years. Never had an issue with that. And then if you're an agent, you can actually put your MLS number down here in the disclosure section. Sometimes that is required in your state, but if you're not an agent, you probably don't have anything you need to put down there.
Yeah, I would say if you are in, I know someone asked if they need to use their house, you can do PO box at USPS, but also members have been telling me, and I actually want to do this, is UPS has it to where you actually have like a suite number for your PO box. So it shows up as like you have an actual office space if you don't feel comfortable with your home address. It's not a necessity, but if you don't want to share that, that's understandable.
All right. So let's go to the More tab, and this is where you can manage your team. Let's see. Yeah. So this is where you can manage your team, and you can give them the specific parts of the app. And those would be like the CRM, the street engine, which is the driving for dollars, and mobile maps. And then the list, which is the lead list pulling system. I showed you how to get like owners of multiple properties, for example. So, and then of course you got this page to recruit drivers to your team as well.
Can you go into your team again, David, just to show access for it? So like click into Hannah or somebody just to show. So guys, when you go in here, there's permissions and access. So if you have a partner, you can, so I have one partner that is only on Street Engine, cannot be on List Engine, and you would do that in access.
Okay, I will do that.
And so it shows you like limited access, not available for deal finders, but if she was a partner, it'd say like, do you want to add them as a spot? So I know some of you have like admins or people that are working that maybe you just want them focused on List Engine. You can just make them seeing List Engine, not Street Engine.
Got it.
That was all.
All right, so the get free leads section is just a promo code you can share, and you get $5 of credit if you share that with somebody who signs up for DealMachine. The settings has quite a bit of stuff. So the profile is just your personal information. Engines and add-ons is where you view and manage your DealMachine engines and features. So of course you got the CRM, which is a lot of what we showed you that you actually get for free. You know, it's the dashboard, it's the leads view, it's sending mailers, it's skip tracing. Then the street engine is the driving for dollars, like mobile maps, to make it really easy to track your routes where you've been and to add properties quickly and recruit drivers for you. And then the list engine is pulling leads for a flat fee. And you could do things like the multiple people who own multiple properties, for example, to find some cash buyers. And then the add-ons are the real-time driving routes, which actually shows the routes on the map, the campaigns, which is that sophistication of your mail sequences. Street pick is if you're not taking a photo of a house, we can populate that with a Google image automatically. And then mail tracking is an advanced feature that would actually give you push notifications when like pieces of mail are expected to arrive that day. And it actually like will scan the mail and let you know that. And if they get returned, if you had this, it would also mark them all as returned in your system so that you don't continue to mail to them. You don't have to worry about turning off the repeat mail for that case. Did I get everything?
I think so.
Okay.
Again, you guys, you have any questions, let us know, but all of these are on YouTube. We also have a training that you can sign up for.
Oh yeah, let me, well,
David, I feel like I need a theme song behind you or something. Na, 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 na. Sorry.
yeah. So if you guys still have questions about like what steps you need to take to get your first deal, we actually have a couple of free trainings. They're both 1 hour. Excuse me. The first one is like how to get your first deal driving for dollars. That's the place to start. The second one is how to do everything from answering your phone to estimating repair costs, to handling your appointment, getting the thing under contract, you know, finding that buyer and selling it. So if you guys want, I can post the links to those 2 trainings so you could sign up for those. We do them live almost every weekday. Chris says yes. Okay. Hey, Ryan, was there anything that we missed in the software that you guys really like to use? Really glad you stayed on with us.
Yeah, no, I was planning to be here till midnight. I was ready. I think that, I mean, what I've been using a lot lately was lists and utilizing the list tab and using the filters on the list to find, you know, who found, here's something. If you've got drivers, how to pull up a list of properties that those specific drivers have found. If you want to touch base on that, that's been helpful for us.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good tip. All right, guys. So there's the training. There's the place to sign up for that first training. And I will post the second one here too, in case you want to sign up for that.
And then David, could you show them how to do what Ryan was talking about, checking what leads they pulled in?
Okay, checking what leads you pulled in. Say that again.
The drivers, like what leads your drivers pulled in, like filtering that. How do you filter?
Yep. Yeah. So what I would do is filter this by added by, and then you could click one of your driver's names and it would show you specifically what leads they pulled in. Is that how you do it, Ryan?
Yep, that's exactly how we do it.
Okay, got it.
Do you guys also do it by like every week? Do you do it by like, or just overall, like how many they added?
I have to do it weekly to make sure that, I mean, I've gotten stuck before. We've had both my dad and my brother say, well, we've added 200. I'm like, why didn't I have 200 postcards go out? So then I had to go back and find ones that they had did 2 weeks ago that were still stuck in pending approval. So now I do it every week. At Friday, I'll go in there, I'll pull in every lead added by them, and then switch all of those to start mailers. So
love it. That's good. Then you're not missing out on those.
I know. That was a frustration, but it happens.
It happens. Growing pains.
Yep.
Got it. All right. Well, that wraps up the software demo. Elise, do you have any final closing thoughts?
I feel like, there's a lot of stuff coming up. I know we teased y'all a lot about the route planner. It is coming. And for those who have not heard, I think I'm safe to say all of this because we're pretty much like in the terminal about to take off with this. But by the end of the year, or soon around there, we'll have it to where you can actually on the map, take a list that you've created, whether that's through List Engine or organically, or you create one right there, and we will have it planned route. It'll basically be like Google, to where it maps out the most efficient route for you to go to hit all of those properties. And it's just really, really cool. I've done some teasers. You'll see more about it, but that's something that I want you guys to look forward to. And just, we're really excited about the new year. And thank you guys, since this is our last webinar of the year, which kind of just blew my mind right there for a minute. Thank you guys so much for this year. Being there is just a really strong and wonderful community that we're so grateful and lucky to have. And just know that we're here to always support you going into 2021, no matter what happens, because I mean, no one saw this coming. So, but just know that you always have this support system here, even though I know a lot of you maybe don't start off with such a strong one when you're getting into this.
Awesome. Ryan, any closing thoughts?
The only thing I would say is everybody that's on, wake up tomorrow and go send 25 mails tomorrow. Make it all happen.
That's right. Yeah. Focus on that revenue generating activity, which is find those deals and get in touch with those homeowners. So that way you can help them unload their distressed property.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. Have a good night. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next trainings. And I'm going to post these again. The links are going to go away as soon as we end the webinar. So be sure to click it right now before we end it. Thank you guys so much again, and look forward to seeing you guys real soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ryan.
You bet.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.